Hey Daily Dosers, Chase here from our Temecula campus. You know, as long as I can remember, I've been competitive. I'm a younger brother, so I was born into that competition day one. I had people that I could compete with. And so when it came to board games, tried to win them all. When it came to arguments, tried to be the best. When it came to sports, tried to win everything. Accolades, tried to attain absolutely everything that I could. And that sort of competitive one-up mentality, I realized as I got older, started to spill into relationships and arguments that I would have with people. So if someone would say something mean to me, I would respond to make sure that my anger and frustration was bigger and better, and the dig was, it left a bigger sting. Or if someone pointed out an insecurity of mine or a shortcoming that I had, I made sure that they and everyone else around them knew that they've got their own issues, their own shortcomings. And finally, I had a good friend point out a really important verse to me, because I realized over time that it never really ended the argument or the competition. It would just get bigger and bigger until we just got sick of each other, didn't want to see each other, stopped talking to each other. And then my friend points out Proverbs 15:1, which says, "A gentle answer turns away wrath, but a harsh word stirs up anger." See, I realized from that moment on, maybe I should approach this frustration or the digs towards me or the shortcomings that I have, maybe the comments that people make, maybe I handle that in a different way. And ever since then, I've been provided some opportunities to live that out, right? I can think of a particular time many, many years ago in a different organization. Unfortunately, I had to let someone go because of some things that had been said and done. And so they responded like so many people do. They send a text out, an email out to everyone that works for me, my bosses, anyone else at the organization that they still knew, to make sure that everyone around me knew, okay, Chase is not fit to be a leader. Here's all the ways that he failed. Here's all of his shortcomings. And in that moment, competitive Chase wanted to come out. I wanted to pull a staff meeting together and say, hey, let me share just why we let this guy go. Let me share exactly all of his shortcomings. And thankfully, a mentor of mine pulled me aside as he could see the wheels turning of how does Chase defend himself in this moment. He pulled me aside and said, you know what, don't say a thing. Don't send an email out, even recognizing there's an email. Don't pull anybody else into your office and say, hey, did you get this text? Are you hearing anything? Instead, don't say anything. And I didn't. Over the next couple of days, I had a couple people come in and just say, hey, did you see this? Or they would forward me the email and just said, hey, this is just for your information. Didn't respond to anything, or anyone that had questions. I just said, yeah, that's crazy. And they just agreed. My mentor told me, you know what? People know your character. They know who you are, and they know whether this stuff is true. They also know this other person's character. It's going to blow over in a matter of days. And in fact, it did. It also reminded me of that little soundbite that Larry gets to offer every once in a while of, if you wrestle with pigs, you both end up getting dirty, and the pigs like it. See, in that moment, that guy wanted me to come back and really prove my character of everything that he had just said I was to be true. And he wanted to pull me back into that. And again, it would go into that one-up of who can say more mean things or really point out the shortcomings that the other person has. And yet, because I responded with gentleness, or in that moment didn't even respond, it blew over. It actually allowed, and I know this is sort of fairy tale ending, but it allowed an opportunity years later where I run into this guy and there's reconciliation. There's grace extended. There's an apology that's had. And I know that generally doesn't happen, but time and time over again, when we actually live this out of a gentle answer, it turns away wrath. And sometimes that means the gentlest thing that we can do is not even responding. So church, as much as we can, man, if we get those digs, those comments that are made towards us, the hurtful things that we so quickly want to respond with, if instead we slow down with a gentle answer, or maybe not an answer at all, we'll realize it turns away that wrath more quickly. It allows that space and that time for peace, for reconciliation, and for grace to be extended. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.